Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video takes us deep into one of the most shocking and calculated military moves of the modern war between Ukraine and Russia. A strike that didn't involve hundreds of missiles, dozens of fighter jets, or massive waves of troops. Instead, it involved just 2 Ukrainian combat aircraft. Yet the result was catastrophic for Russia, an estimated $620 million in damage, all in just 16 minutes. This operation stunned military analysts around the world, raised serious questions about the state of Russian air defenses, and showed how strategy, precision, and timing can outweigh raw numbers. This event wasn't a random strike. It was a message. A message that Ukraine still possessed the reach, the intelligence, and the capability to hit deep behind Russian lines, including one of the most politically sensitive regions of all, Moscow. The target selection, the flight route, the timing, and the weapons used were all calculated to send a clear signal not only to Russia, but also to the entire global military community. And when the smoke cleared, Russia was left scrambling to explain how 2 jets penetrated its most heavily defended airspace, where some of the world's most advanced anti-air defense systems are deployed. The strike began with Ukrainian strategic planners identifying a critical infrastructural and logistical installation on the outskirts of Moscow. This facility played a significant role in the Russian military supply chain, and damaging it would disrupt operations on multiple fronts. But hitting a target so deep inside Russian territory required not just courage, but technological precision and strategic secrecy. Unlike other operations where Ukraine used drones or long-range missiles, this time the approach was far more direct and far more daring. The jets flew at extremely low altitudes, hugging the terrain to avoid radar detection. They took advantage of blind radar zones, electronic interference, and the predictable patterns of Russian defense system rotations. As the Ukrainian jets approached the target, the timing was key. The attack had to happen at a moment when Russian defenses were least attentive and when the target was most vulnerable. The pilots executed the strike with remarkable discipline. They released their payload and exited the airspace within seconds, climbing back toward Ukrainian-controlled territory before Russian air defenses could lock on. That level of speed and coordination comes from countless hours of training, simulation, and real-time intelligence updates. The damage was immediate and devastating. Warehouses, supply depots, fuel reserves, and equipment storage areas erupted into flames. CCTV footage captured explosions lighting up the sky. Satellite images released afterward confirmed entire structures reduced to smoking ruins. The financial cost of the damage was massive, but the symbolic impact was even greater. Moscow is supposed to be one of the most secure cities on Earth, protected by layers of S-400 missile systems, early warning radars, and electronic warfare stations. Yet 2 jets broke through all of it. This forced uncomfortable discussions within Russian military leadership. How could Ukraine outmaneuver defenses that Russia claimed were unbeatable if 2 jets could reach Moscow? What would prevent a larger coordinated strike in the future? The Russian narrative that their skies were impenetrable was suddenly proven false. Confidence was shaken not just within the military, but among Russian citizens living in the capital who had believed the war was distant and contained. Suddenly, the war was on their doorstep. Meanwhile, the psychological impact internationally was significant. Ukraine demonstrated that even without an air force equal to Russia's, it could still strike where it hurts most. This earned Ukraine renewed respect from its allies, as well as fresh discussions about delivering more advanced aircraft such as F-16s. Western analysts highlighted that while Russia has a numerical advantage in terms of aircraft and weapons, Ukraine's strength lies in flexibility, intelligence cooperation, and strategic innovation. And this wasn't just about hitting a target, this was about shaping perception. Wars are not only fought on the battlefield. They are fought in politics, media, morale, and international diplomacy. With one operation, Ukraine reminded the world that it was still capable of offensive strategy, despite being under invasion. It showed its own population that resistance wasn't just defensive, it was active and evolving. However, it's also important to understand that such strikes come with risks. Pilots flying into enemy airspace know there is a real chance they won't return. Every operation of this level requires precise intelligence, and if even one part fails, radar avoidance, timing, equipment functioning, the mission collapses. The fact that this mission succeeded shows not only bravery, but remarkable coordination between Ukrainian Air Force units, reconnaissance teams, and external intelligence support networks. Russia, for its part, attempted to downplay the strike. State media initially denied that any major damage occurred. But satellite analysis, eyewitness accounts, and internal reports forced them to admit losses. The Kremlin shifted its messaging toward blaming NATO, suggesting that Ukraine could not have executed such an operation without foreign support. While it's true that Ukraine receives intelligence and equipment assistance, the pilots, the planning, and the execution were Ukrainian. And that is exactly why the strike carried so much symbolic weight. In the days that followed, Russia reinforced air defenses around Moscow, adjusted radar coverage patterns, and relocated additional anti-air units from other regions. But these redeployments came at a cost. Strengthening one area leaves another area weaker, and in warfare, every gap matters. This is the chess match playing out across the battlefield. Ukraine forces Russia to reposition resources, and in doing so, Ukraine creates new opportunities elsewhere. Looking at the bigger picture, this strike will likely be studied by military academies for years. It was an example of how intelligent planning can overcome overwhelming opposition. It also showed how precision strikes on logistics and infrastructure can shift momentum without needing massive troop movements. Modern warfare is about efficiency, timing, and impact, not just size. As we continue to watch developments in this conflict, one thing remains clear: Ukraine has shown it still holds the initiative in certain areas. Russia may have more aircraft and missiles, but Ukraine has strategy, adaptability, and the ability to surprise. This strike is a reminder that wars are often won not by the strongest side, but by the side that can think ahead and hit where the enemy least expects it. So that's the story of how just 2 Ukrainian jets delivered one of the most costly blows to Russia in a matter of minutes. A bold operation that reshaped strategic thinking and reminded the world that the balance of power can shift with a single strike. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see more deep analysis like this, make sure to like the video, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe for more updates. Your support means everything. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.